to talk about the scenes out of the books that I wish they'd put in the movies. Now I've only picked a few because there's quite a lot missing out of the book, out of the movies that were in the books obviously, but obviously as we know and should understand, they can't put everything in. But yeah, these are just a few of what I would have loved to have seen in the movies. So if you want to hear what book scenes I would love to have seen, then keep on watching. And if this is the first time you're seeing my face, hello and welcome to my channel. If you would like to become a Potter Poppet with us, please click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And my social medias are all linked in the description of this video. Go check me out on them and see what I'm up to on those. Okay, so number one, Peeves. It's not a scene exactly, there's many scenes that Peeves is in, but Peeves was so mischievous, and some of the scenes in the books, it really made me chuckle, and he was so naughty, and I just think he would have made a fun additive to the films. They were only short scenes that Peeves were in, so I don't know why Peeves was completely cut out. If you do know why, I might actually know why, but I've forgotten. But if you do know why, jog my memory in the comments of this video, please. Scene number two was the Death Day party, which was the celebration for the death day for nearly headless Nick. Now, I do love the ghosts of Hogwarts, and we don't see enough of them throughout the movies. We only, there's some bits with them in, which is really nice, but I just think if they'd kept that Death Day scene, put that in the movies, it would have been nice to see them, you know, get their moves on and have their party, because yeah, it was quite a cool scene in the book. So yeah, that's definitely one that I would love to have seen in the movie. I can't remember which movie that one's from. Oh my gosh. Which one was it? Number three, Winky the house elf. Again, not just a scene. This little elf was in many scenes, but she was owned by the Crouch family. Now, Winky was dismissed by Barty Crouch Sr. after being found in the forest at the Quidditch World Cup with a wand in her hand, after the dark mark had been cast into the sky. Winky relocated in Hogwarts. Dumbledore took her in, but she was very depressed after being dismissed, and therefore she sort of became an alcoholic. She got onto the butterbeer. But putting Winky's drinking problems to one side, I really liked her in the books. And she was also a good friend of Dobby's as well, and I think she would have made a great additive to the films. Again, she wasn't in the films books that much, so I don't really understand why she was cut out completely, but she was, unfortunately. Number four, Rita Skeeter, and the fact that she was an unregistered animagus. She was a tiny beetle. Being able to transform into a beetle was how Rita Skeeter got her scoops for her stories. Because she was able to turn into something so small, she was able to hide. No one knew she was there. And also in the books, Hermione traps Rita Skeeter in a jar when she's a beetle. Hermione figures it all out, because she's clever, of course, the cleverest witch of her age. But she traps her in this jar, and I would have actually liked to have seen that, because I do like Rita Skeeter. I like her, how she dresses and how she is. I don't like her. She's just someone I love to hate. But that would have been a really cool scene to see Hermione trap her in that jar. Number five, when Molly Weasley encounters a boggart and sees her family die. That's actually quite weird that I would like to see that in the film. But that scene seems to really get to me when I read it in the book, and it is one that I would find interesting to see in the film. I suppose though, with the films having, you know, they're child friendly, that sort of scene wouldn't be so child friendly, especially because in the book it's quite, in fact, I haven't read the books in a while, but from what I can remember, it was quite a, I want to say graphic scene, because I can remember being like, oh my gosh. Number six, Nevilles' parents at St. Mungo's. They didn't die. So many people think they died in the films. It was never said that they died. It was said that they suffered a fate worse than death. They were in St. Mungo's. They were insane. I want to say insane. At the end of Chamber of Secrets, well, towards the end, we see that Gilderoy Lockhart obviously loses his memory because his memory charm backfires because he uses Ron's broken wand. Well, I'm sure it was the trio. Again, I need to read the books again and brush up. But they go to see Gilderoy Lockhart at St Mungo's. Obviously, that's the last we see of him. But in the books, he's in St Mungo's and the trio go to see him. And I can't remember why. I really need to read the books again. But they go and they see Neville visiting his parents. I think that would have been a good scene just to get Neville's parents in. And we do see how Neville obviously is upset about his parents, but to see him with his parents would have been a really lovely touch through the film. Scene 7, when Sirius dies in the Order of the Phoenix. Obviously Harry's absolutely devastated, but in the books he takes it out on Dumbledore. I'm pretty sure it's in Dumbledore's office, and he goes like mad, and I think he smashes a couple of things. And I can remember reading that scene for the first time and I was thinking, you can't be like that around Dumbledore. But Dumbledore just let him, because obviously he knew Harry was so devastated, and he just let him, and he proper like was having a go at Dumbledore. And it was just so much sass, and it would have been great in the film. Number 8, Wormtail's death. Because we all know how much I hate Wormtail. I hate him. I don't even like talking about him. So we'll get this one done quick. No, actually we won't, because I quite enjoy this scene. Wormtail dies. That silver hand that Voldemort gives him as that sort of thank you for, obviously, because he brought Voldemort back. Using his hand as obviously one of the ingredients needed. Cut off his own hand, obviously. So yeah, Voldemort gave him this silver hand as a thank you. But what Wormtail didn't know is that if he went against Voldemort, because Voldemort was clever and knew that Wormtail wasn't that much of a... what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't that loyal. He was a bit of a snake. So obviously this hand wasn't what Wormtail thought. And Harry reminded him that Wormtail sort of... what was it? Let me look. Hang on. Sort of owed his life in a way to help him, and Wormtail did, and the hand turned on him and strangled him to death. Yes, that would have been a great scene. Again though, it's not really child friendly, is it, to see someone getting strangled? It's quite a bit of a slow and painful death, so maybe not. But it would have been a good scene. Number 9, and I wish I had this at number 1, because literally the first time I read it, because as I have said before, I didn't read the books until 2 years ago, so I'd already seen the films. But I can remember in the Chamber of Secrets, you know when Arthur and Lucius have those words in the bookshop, and obviously Lucius puts the Tom Riddle's diary in Ginny's cauldron. They have words, don't they? A bit of cross words between each other. Well, in the book, they actually have a fight. They have a fight, and it just, all hell breaks loose. And that would have been so awesome to see. Of course, I'd have been rooting for Lucius. I'm joking. All right, calm down. No, it would have been really good to see, because the whole scene was just amazing in the books. But yeah, to see Arthur just put in a few shots there, it was like... yeah, that should have been in the movie, definitely. Number 10, Percy Weasley completely abandoning his family for the Ministry of Magic. Molly was so upset, and yeah, Percy really, I mean, I wasn't keen on him in the film, but he's really bad in the books. But then during the Battle of Hogwarts, Percy comes back to rejoin his family to help fight. Speaking of that bit being missing out of the Battle of Hogwarts, there is a lot of little things that are in the book during the Battle of Hogwarts, that are not in the movies. Yes, they did the movie brilliantly, and I did like the fight scene and everything at the end, but there was little things missing, like Trelawney throwing prophecy orbs, Creature got all the house elves to join in and help, yeah, there was a few bits that I really wish were in the Battle of Hogwarts that would have really made you... But yeah, going back to Percy, yeah, he was terrible. But when I was reading and he came back to help his family at the Battle of Hogwarts, it was quite heartwarming to read. But I still don't like you, Percy. Number 11, Hermione's organisation of SPEW. It was completely wiped out of the movies. There was no SPEW in there whatsoever. Don't get me wrong, I did find it kind of annoying alongside with Harry and Ron as I was reading, because she just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. She made, was it stickers, pamphlets? She was trying to get everybody to join this organisation. And if you didn't know, I can never remember what it stands for. Is it, oh my gosh, I can't, something about elfish welfare. I can't remember. I I need to reread the book so bad. But yeah, it just showed a bit more of that compassion side to her. She really cared for the elves, and she just couldn't get it in her head that house elves are what they are. They are what they are. They enjoy being with a family. Dobby was the only one that sort of went astray, wasn't he, in the end, and he was quite happy being free. But that's how the rest of them are. I mean, Winky, who I was on about, great example. She got depressed because she didn't belong to a family anymore. And Hermione was trying to say, but you're not enslaved anymore. You're not a slave to this family anymore. But Winky was still upset, and Hermione couldn't like get round it. So obviously Harry, Ron, and a few others were trying to say to her, look, you're meddling into something that you don't need to meddle in. But she wouldn't have it. But I do think that would have been a fun additive for the film, the SBEW. Number 12, Harry's investment into Weasley's wizard. Wheezes. Nothing about this is mentioned in the film. So basically, a lot of people think that haven't read the books, hang on a minute, how did they get this shop in Diagon Alley and have all this stock in Weasley's wizard Wheezes? Basically, Harry won 1,000 galleons from winning the Triwizard Tournament, and he gave that to the Weasleys. So if it was a mystery to you, there you go. You now know Harry gave them the money. And I do think that that's quite a major thing that should have been kept and put in the movie, because the Weasleys are poor. A lot of people have thought, how did they afford it? Number 13, the Weasleys connect the Dursleys to the Flu Network. This scene is so funny. It's in the Goblet of Fire. Basically, the Weasleys go to the Dursleys to whisk Harry away to the Quidditch World Cup. Now, Arthur just thought, oh, I'll just connect their chimney. But the Dursleys blocked their chimney because they didn't want owl posts. They didn't want anything from the wizarding world coming through their chimney into their perfectly normal home. So they blocked it up. So when Arthur, Ron, Fred and George, I'm sure it was them four, when they arrived at in the chimney, they were stuck in the wall, and Arthur had to blow a hole in the wall. And to read it, it was just such a funny scene, like with Petunia and Vernon's reactions, and oh, it was just, yeah, it was quite a funny scene. And yeah, I think they could have kept that in the film. They could have done. That would have been so funny to see. So yeah, there we go, guys. They are just a handful. There are so many scenes that I would have loved to have seen in the movies. But yeah, that was just a small handful to tell you about, that I sort of my tops, maybe some of my tops anyway. Like I said, I know they couldn't have fit it all, and I'm not saying that the movies were bad because of this, because I love the movies so much, so much. But they are just some scenes that me personally, I would have loved to have seen in the movies, and I do think they maybe could have added them, but they would have had their reasons. Let's face it, if they'd have put so many of the scenes from the books in the movies would be so long, and I don't know, I don't think it would make them boring, but you can only sit for so long and watch a film, do you know what I mean? But yeah, in the comments down below, let me know any scenes from the books that you'd love to hear, to have seen in the movies, because you know how much I love talking to you guys in the comments. I really enjoy our little chats. Let me know as well if you haven't read the books and this has made you want to read the books, because that would be quite good to know. But yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up for me, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye, Pots Poppets.